Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for attending our Open Athens Access Lab presentation. Today, we're going to talk about how Open Athens provides an easy-to-use SSO system that connects all of the pieces of the library ecosystem at Karn University. Before we dive into it, we wanted to introduce ourselves. So I am William from the EBSCO team. I am a sales authentication specialist. I've had over 5 years of experience at EBSCO, some of it in technical support, some of it in implementation team. And currently, my main role at EBSCO is consulting with colleagues and customers on authentication.
And I'm Stephanie Caselli. I'm Dean of Educational Resources, as well as Director of Maslin Library at Cairn University. And really what those titles mean is I'm busy and I wear many hats throughout the day. And one of the hats I wear is maintaining our Open Athens. I started as a technical services librarian here at Cairn in 2001. And I believe that my experience in the library kind of is from A to Z, acquisition to zip ties. And at Cairn University, we are a small private university. And being small means we have a very small library staff. But we have a large e-collection with many solutions and integrations. Therefore, our solutions really need to be manageable, intuitive, and low maintenance because, well, I'm the one maintaining them and I already have enough to do. Our identity tool has got to be vendor neutral, and it needs to allow this seamless access for our on-site and remote users.
So this is a diagram that represents the library ecosystem at Karn. We can see that there are a variety of tools and resources that accomplish different goals and different tasks. So what we need to do is figure out how to connect them all into a truly seamless experience for both administrators and for users without creating redundancy and really making sure we keep things as simple as possible. So we broke this down into 7 different categories or pieces of the ecosystem. And what we want to do today is show you the importance of considering each of these parts and how Open Athens is really used to make this possible. And not only possible, but optimal. These sections are identity management, integrated library systems, authentication, discovery, knowledge base, linking, and content. So to start off, the first one is identity management. So this is really the origin of your users' accounts and what powers the login experience, meaning what credentials, what login screen, and what information is used when the user is trying to access any of your library content. A lot of the times, identity is managed by your IT team, but it can also be managed within your ILS system by library staff, or it could be both. Open Athens is really instrumental in this case because Open Athens can help manage multiple sources of identity at once. And also it can be an identity provider itself.
So at Cairn University, our identity management, I bring it in with Folio because we have our pre-Folio days and our now Folio days. We went live on Folio for our ILS in June of 2022. And once we did that, we were able to have 2 different options for logging in that were managed a lot more seamlessly than we had before. We always had our Google Active Directory, which is what authenticates our current faculty, students, and staff. But what about those that aren't in our Active Directory? How can we manage them? And we kind of patched some things together pre-folio. But really what we were doing is managing generic passwords, and that wasn't a great solution for us. Now with Folio, we are able for our users that are allowed to access our resources but are not in the Google Active Directory. We can have accounts for them within Folio, and then they get authenticated and everything works so much better. And this is just the back end screen, just showing you the different types of now that the local authentication that takes place. And this is because of the flexibility in Open Athens with identity management that this is possible. And this is the splash screen that our students see throughout their experience. And excuse me, I always say students, but it's really users. Our users will see when they hit Open Athens. And for our Google, when they click the upper box, they'll get to their Google sign-in. And then for those that are using the Folio account, that's the lower screen there. And they put in their username and password. And it all really works well. And it works so well, we made this change in summer 2022, and we haven't received any complaints or confusion. So I think we're doing okay.
Next up is Integrated Library System, or ILS. So what an ILS is, it's a collection of different software pieces that help perform a variety and many of the basic functions of a library. That includes the user's library status and activity. A lot of customers manage and create accounts directly in the ILS and may want to use these accounts to access e-resources, like we just saw at Carnegie University. But not only that, Open Athens keys up with the ILS to provide a fully personalized experience for both the EBSCO discovery system and also the catalog system for the user.
So the back end of this that's happening in Open Athens to make what William described possible is we have our attribute mapping. So what are the attributes that we need to map to make sure that people are that our users are able to authenticate? But then they also need permissions. So then we go into the permission set mapping and get that set up for them. And then we need to let the EBSCO know, okay, we're going to be releasing these attributes. So find these attributes and map to them, please. And so that was the back end. And so what that back end, setting that back end up allows for the front end, for our users to have a seamless experience, and their Folio user account is now available directly from our EDS. So, and that's the main way our users do interact with the library collection. And now they have an option up at the top to see what loans they have. And then when they log in, you'll see that they can see their loans, their requests, and their fees. They can also, when they're on this page, they can renew this book, or if they had requests, they could cancel requests. But in addition to that, they also have their MyEBSCO or EDS folder that our users love. And that is now linked to their Folio user account. So it's all in one place that they're able to interact with their resources, whether they're electronic, whether they're articles, videos, or if they're physical material. And then on the front end, within EDS, I love this screen. And if you want to know more information about it, there's a lot going on in the Folio side, but we're not going to discuss. But this catalog with patron empowerment happens even as they're searching. And what we've done is we've taken our inventory and our e-holdings, and it feeds this new catalog that our students or our users can get to directly from EDS by clicking a catalog button, and it looks like it's coming from one place for our users, but it's really feeding from two different catalogs. And even here, there's so much happening with Open Athens, from the linking to the placing requests, etc.
So the next piece of our library ecosystem is the authentication. And authentication is where the user proves they are a valid user and is allowed to access the content. So Open Athens as a tool not only helps manage identity, but this access or authentication into whatever resource the user is trying to get to. The really important piece here is that Open Athens' ability to handle 3 methods of authentication really helps streamline and and centralizes access. Open Athens handles 3 methods of authentication, primarily using federated SAML access. We can also in Open Athens set up one-to-one custom SAML access for publishers that may use SAML, but not a part of the Open Athens Federation. And then thirdly is proxy IP. So Open Athens has a proxy IP built into the tool to authenticate to resources that may not be compatible with SAML.
And these are the 3 different areas that William just explained. And you'll notice that we interact with all 3 of these throughout our use of Open Athens. Additionally, for a resource, when we're going through to make a resource work, we allocate the resource. And for this example, it's PALC Easy Borrow, which is our interlibrary loan module with a number of libraries in our region. And this is now part of the Open Athens Federation to allow our patrons to authenticate and then request through this tool. And we allocated it, and then we had to add a couple releasing of attributes to make this work. And then how that then translates for our users is when they go to the PALC Easy Borrow site and they search for a book that they want, or a returnable that they want, they can click on the request button. And once they click on that request button, they select their home institution, Cairn University, and then they see that same splash screen that they see wherever else they are within the library ecosystem. And additionally, we have the WAIF login experience, right? The where are you from experience. That is really important for our users as they're kind of navigating and going from anywhere to get access. And instead of hitting paywalls, they can click on the access through your institution button. That's really almost everywhere these days. They click on that, and then they put in Cairn University, select it, and then they're brought again to that same splash screen. So from wherever they are, they're able to get to the resources that they have access to as a Cairn University member.
So the 4th step in the library ecosystem is discovery. So as Stephanie just talked about, that example of authenticating, using Open Athens to authenticate through the open web, through the WAIF experience, is crucial, because that's one of the ways the user can find the content they have access to. And that's really what discovery is. When we say discovery, it's where the user goes to find the content that they have access to. Many libraries will have a library website and a variety of different tools that allows the user to browse and see what content is available. These can be things like article level discovery tools or A to Z lists. EBSCO Stacks, LibGuides, and EBSCO Discovery Service are a few examples of ones that Carnegie University uses, and that is to provide and allow users to discover what's available for content. Once we're in the discovery portal, the Open Athens redirector really completes the SSO experience. It's used as a prefix of all of the full text links that authenticate the user to that publisher site. And again, that redirector is really crucial because not only we want the user to be able to authenticate into the discovery service itself, but then they need to jump out once they find the article they want, maybe to a third-party publisher site. So that second level, the redirector really, again, helps enable that experience for the user and that complete end-to-end seamless SSO journey.
And I like to say that discovery happens everywhere. And so we need to make sure that our users can get to that content from everywhere. And these 5 screens are just a smattering of examples of that and where our redirector comes into play. So the top left is the link directly from our EDS and our custom link there from Oxford University Press or for Oxford University Press. The top right is coming from Wiley Online Library, but not as me being already authenticated or coming from EDS or anywhere else. It's an open web search. And because we have LibKey Nomad, and when we have the extension, we have the download the PDF link there. And when we click on that, it authenticates via Open Athens and just opens up that PDF right there for the user. The bottom left is our A to Z list, and we have our redirectors coded right in there so that we can make sure our students always get to the database no matter what. And then the middle screen, bottom screen, is just our library website where they can just start searching. And it's because of these redirector links that they're able to find what they need and then get access to it, right? And then the bottom right is our publication finder. And that's feeding off of our knowledge base, which William will talk about in a moment. But in the back end, it's our redirectors, our Open Athens redirector links that are allowing these connections to happen.
Excellent. So yeah, Knowledgebase. Knowledgebase is a really important part of the library ecosystem. What it does is it gives a library a place to index all of their holdings, both print and electronic, as well as the coverage, and also where that full text is available from. A Knowledgebase can help control what is seen in a discovery experience, in the EBSCO Discovery, also in Publication Finder, which is the journal browse for the knowledge base, and it can also help power the linking. So the Open Athens redirector really comes into play here again, because what we do is we can layer Open Athens over the knowledge base, and it really helps to make it easy and to ensure the content is not only updated, but the user can authenticate into it right away. Holdings can change really fast, as we know in the library world. So having a quick and easy way to make sure it's accessible is really key.
And a very quick screen of how we manage this. We can either go through EBSCO admin, or now we can go through Folio in the eHoldings app. And either place, we're able to select for the proxy server the OA redirector. And really the sky's the limit in terms of the different holdings and the different titles and packages that this is available for.
Yeah, next up, thank you, Stephanie. Next up is linking. Linking is also really important to the library ecosystem because what linking does is it directs the user to the correct place where your subscribed content is from. This might be direct links. We saw a few slides ago that link to Oxford, or it could be EBSCO's link resolver, full text finder. It not only helps control the destination, but also prompting for SSO authentication. So the redirector is really crucial in these parts of the ecosystem because it makes it really easy for administrators to know, okay, this is where we need to get to, but we need to make sure it prompts for the right authentication to actually get there. So that the redirector, again, really comes into play here because it can be layered on top of the knowledge base and the links to ensure that the user, again, not only going to the right place, but they're actually able to authenticate easily during that journey. Whether it's links from Discovery Portal, like we said, or maybe other places like Google Scholar or PubMed, Link Resolver, Full Text Finder, and the Open Athens redirector really work well together here. And it takes a lot of the administrative work off of our plates.
And linking really starts back in Open Athens, in my mind. And I like to say, let me count the ways. And William had already talked about this earlier about the different ways that the different options for getting access and authenticating into databases. But I think this is also a good example of why our links work so well, because it really doesn't matter if you're proxying or using the federated SAML or a custom SAML. It all comes back to when this is set up correctly, your linking works very smoothly and it's easy to manage. And that is a lot for me. And this is what allows the redirector page to work. And we're going to look at this now, where we have the redirector link generator. The top left is how you get to this from the admin side of Open Athens. But Open Athens also has an outward-facing link generator. And when you point your patrons to this, your users to this, they can also create their own Athenized, I like to call them, links, so that they can get access to the content regardless of where they're from, where they're accessing this. And I think this is really significant. We pass this on and encourage our faculty. This is a great way when they like to just do a quick link and send something over, but we have access to it. We ask them to then make sure that their links are Athenized, and we'll talk about this at the end, but that helps with usage as well, right? And then the bottom boxes here, the bottom left, this is our full text finder and our linking is happening there. And you can see it doesn't matter whether it's coming from an aggregator or directly from the publisher. We're able to get the student, the user, to the exact resource that they need. And the bottom right is just a quick screenshot of how you can set up libguides if you so choose to get your proxy URL to set up for your A to Z list, if that's how you want to do it.
And lastly, content. So content is really the end goal of the library ecosystem. All these different tools and workflows are really used to make it quicker and easier for the user to get to the content. This is really where the user is going to go to complete their task at hand or their research project or whatever it might be. A really important thing to note is firstly that, as we saw, Open Athens works with thousands of different publishers that use different protocols, but it's not just content either. I think full text is one piece of it, but Open Athens can also work with library applications. The example we looked at earlier that Stephanie shared, where users at Karn use this Easy Borrow tool that necessarily isn't full text, but it's a popular tool and one commonly used in the library. So Open Athens is really able to streamline workflows, so not only content, but tools the library might use. Any ability to save the users an extra set of credentials and an extra step of logging in is always going to yield better results. So Open Athens, again, really helps in that space to keep all the different content and apps in one place and use authentication to get there.
And I think the reality is, and we all have to agree, we spend the majority of our budget on content, and we need to make sure that our users aren't hitting paywalls or dead ends when we actually have access to this content. And we spend a lot of time making sure we have the best content for our users. So let's not put a barrier, and having this seamless access, and what Open Athens has done for us has really made this has just allowed us to bring our content to our students and our users in a multitude of ways, and make sure that what we're paying for is getting used.
And then we also want to see how much these resources are being used. As you just outlined, Stephanie, it's a really important part. And not only how much it's being used, but by who, or maybe what groups. This really helps fine-tune your content collection, being able to see this full picture of usage for a library. This screenshot gives us an example of how Open Athens does that. We talked about the different authentication methods. Regardless of what's being used, you will have the Data Explorer reporting dashboard to have the usage of all of your different apps and content in one place. Now, there are many products out there that fall into these categories. Today, we talked about Carn University's library ecosystem, but it's a vast ecosystem out there. The fact that Open Athens fundamentally is built off of SAML and uses federated authentication is really what gives Carn the ability to make these connections possible and also optimize to make it quick and easy to set up. But that said, Open Athens can connect to a handful of different library ecosystem tools. Here are some other examples in this space. So we want to thank you very much for coming to our presentation today to talk about identity in the library ecosystem. We very much welcome any questions. Our emails are listed right here on this slide. Please feel free to reach out at any time, and we'd be more than happy to help. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you.